Good afternoon, and welcome to the RIT Graduate School's Outstanding Graduate Alumni Awards virtual celebration. Hopefully, you are able to attend and enjoy the many Brick City homecoming events and activities taking place both virtually and on campus this weekend. For those of you who don't know me, allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. Twyla Cummings, Associate Provost and Dean of the RIT Graduate School, and I am delighted to welcome you to our virtual reception. We appreciate the fact that this event will be enriched by the presence and expertise of our professional sign language interpreters and captionists. We thank them for their dedication to this important work. Today's recognition celebration is one of several events that the graduate school hosts, designed with the purpose of enriching the graduate education experience for our current students and graduate program faculty during each academic year. While most events and activities throughout the year center on the professional and personal success of our current graduate students, a tantamount goal for the graduate school is focusing our attention on our accomplished and distinguished alumni. Graduate school alumni are ambassadors, not only for their respective colleges, but of the RIT Graduate School. RIT Graduate School alumni venture out into diverse career paths, completing additional degrees, joining teams of Fortune 500 companies, and carrying out world-renowned research, becoming highly accomplished in their fields. For this reason, we find it considerably important and fitting for us to organize an event that takes the time to highlight their achievements. The graduate school, in collaboration with the individual RIT colleges and degree granting units, is pleased to present the 2021 RIT Outstanding Alumni Thesis and Dissertation Awards. The purpose for this group of alumni awards is to recognize and celebrate exceptional research undertaken by graduate students in the form of their completed master's thesis or doctoral dissertation, and to encourage the recognition of this research at the national and international level. In order to have been considered for an Outstanding Alumni Award, the criterion was as follows. Eligible dissertation and master's thesis must have been approved and uploaded to the ProQuest between January 1st and December 31st, 2020. Additionally, all nominations were required to include the full thesis or dissertation document, the nominee's CV, a nomination letter focusing on the quality and significance of the thesis or dissertation, and a letter of support from the student's graduate program director. Each graduate program conducted its own internal process to nominate students from their respective programs. The selection process is overseen by a selection committee comprised of senior faculty knowledgeable with the dissertation, MFA, MArch, and MS thesis process. The selection committee designates one award for each category. The selection process includes evaluating nominations based on criteria such as the quality of research, quality of writing, visual impact of the thesis, peer-reviewed publications, conference papers, and previously given awards. The Outstanding Graduate Alumni Dissertation Thesis Awards are presented in two forms, a certificate of recognition and a cash award. The award selection committee was charged with reviewing nominations and selecting an award recipient for each of the following categories: the Outstanding Alumni Masters of Fine Arts or Masters of Architecture Thesis Award, the Outstanding Alumni Masters of Science Thesis Award, and the Outstanding Alumni PhD Dissertation Award. The selection committee only awards this recognition to a dissertation or thesis it considers outstanding at a national level and may award more than one in a given category. This year, 2 outstanding PhD dissertation awards will be given. At this time, I'd like to take a moment to thank the chair of the selection committee, Amina Kathari, for her leadership. Amina is a former associate professor from the School of Communication in the College of Liberal Arts. She served on the selection committee just before taking on her new role this past April as the director of the Harrington School of Communication and Media at the University of Rhode Island. Thank you, Amina, for your willingness to chair the selection committee. I would also like to extend my thanks to the wonderful group of faculty members that served alongside Amina on the selection committee: James, Robin, Corey, and Tom. This effort would not be possible without your readiness to volunteer. I truly appreciate you devoting your time to review the work of all the nominees. A reality we are all facing, and that is hard to ignore, began in mid-December of 2019. The COVID-19 pandemic. The reality of living through a pandemic touches each of us, no doubt, in differing ways and to varying degrees. Last year, the Outstanding Graduate Alumni Awards reception to honor the 2020 award recipients had to be canceled amid the outbreak. We were disheartened, to say the least, but we intimately celebrated the awardees with a personal letter and a story in RIT News and Events. The 2020 awardees received their awards via postal mail in place of the on-campus reception. We will take some time today to briefly spotlight the 2020 Outstanding Graduate Alumni Awardees during this virtual celebration. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce Dr. Ellen Granberg, RIT's Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Granberg will lead us in recognizing the 2020 Outstanding Alumni Award recipients. Dr. Granberg.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings. Good afternoon and welcome to our online celebration. Thank you for sharing this moment with us. I know that all of you are as pleased as I am to be able to honor the accomplishments of the 2020 and 2021 Outstanding Graduate Alumni Award recipients. We'll start with a recognition of last year's 2020 awardees. The recipient of the 2020 Outstanding PhD Dissertation Award was Dr. Kevin C. Cook. Dr. Cook received this award for his dissertation titled Magnificent Constructions, the Role of Environment on the Stellar Mass Growth of Massive Galaxies. His thesis advisor was Dr. Jehan S. Kurtaltepe. Dr. Kevin Cook earned his PhD in Astrophysical Sciences and Technology in 2019 from the College of Science and is currently a AAAS Science and Technology Fellow at the National Science Foundation. Congratulations, Dr. Cook. The recipient of the 2020 Outstanding Master of Fine Arts Thesis Award was Joanna Cox. Joanna received this award for her thesis titled Breaking the Stigma, Major Depressive Disorder. Her thesis advisor was Professor James Perkins. Joanna received her Master of Fine Arts degree in Medical Illustration in 2019 from the College of Health Sciences and Technology. She is currently a designer at Impact Trail, a consultation, trial technology, and litigation graphics support services firm. Congratulations, Joanna. Finally, the recipient of the 2020 Outstanding Master of Science Thesis Award was Zachariah Carmichael. Zachariah received this award for his thesis titled Towards Lightweight AI, Leveraging Stochasticity, Quantization, and Tensorization for Forecasting. His thesis advisor was Dr. Darisha Kudaputhi. Zachariah earned his master's degree in 2019 from the Kate Gleason College of Engineering. Presently, Zachariah is a graduate research assistant at the University of Notre Dame, where he is pursuing a PhD in computer science. His research focus is explainable artificial intelligence. Congratulations, Zachariah. I'll now turn the program back to Dr. Cummings to start us off in recognizing the 2021 award nominees.
Let's take a moment to spotlight our 2021 Outstanding Graduate Alumni Award nominees for each of the 3 award categories. All nominees were presented as candidates for the 3 awards respectively by faculty who felt their work rose to a high standard worthy of acknowledgement. I don't envy the committee members for their difficult task of selecting awardees, since all nominees are counted among the finest. Thank you to each nominee for sharing your work and academic journey with us. If we were in person, this would be a great time for a hearty applause. So we do applaud you. Dr. Granberg, I now turn the program back over to you to present the 2021 Outstanding Graduate Alumni Awardees for each award category.
Thank you, Dr. Cummings. The recipient of the 2021 Outstanding Alumni Master of Science Thesis Award is Kenneth Haas, who received his Master of Science degree in Mechanical Engineering from the Kate Gleason College of Engineering. His thesis title is For the Sensing of Viral DNA, an integrated polydimethylsiloxane accurate CRISPR detection system, or IMPACT. And his thesis advisor is Dr. Kay Du. Kenny began his time at RIT in 2015 as an undergraduate studying mechanical engineering and joined the dual degree program in spring of 2018, receiving a bachelor's and master's degree in mechanical engineering from RIT last spring. While at RIT, Kenny was a part of the American Society of Mechanical Engineers and the freestyle snowboard team. He joined Dr. Du's 3N lab at the beginning of 2019 to start his thesis. His thesis research focused on creating a point-of-care viral detection system for infectious diseases, the aforenamed IMPACT system. After graduating last spring, Kenny began work at Clemson University's Energy Innovation Center, performing simulations for wind turbine drive trains, and he's now starting a new position at Invenergy as a wind turbine operations engineer. Congratulations, Kenny, and I now invite you to say a few words.
Perfect. I think I'm unmuted now, but thank you so much, Dr. Granberg, for the introductions, and Dean Cummings for hosting this event alongside everyone else who's been doing stuff on the back end. Also, as an aside, Dr. Granberg, very impressed with the pronunciation of my thesis title. I still don't know if I know how to say PDMS correctly, so I'm very impressed. But I just want to say that I'm so grateful to have been selected for this thesis award. And I remember when I was initially nominated as the award nominee for the mechanical engineering department, and I was honestly pretty shocked just because of all the great research that's being done in that college and all the peers I had working towards their theses. So I'm just so thankful to have received the honor. And I just wanted to take this time to thank a lot of the people who helped get me here and helped me through this journey. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank my family for supporting me throughout my research and throughout my college career. I specifically want to thank my parents, because if it wasn't for their decisions, sacrifices, and hard work, I would have never had the opportunity and privilege to attend RIT, to participate in the dual degree program, and then eventually become exposed to research. So I just thank them so much for that and their sacrifice. I also want to thank all of the lab members that I'd worked with, both within the 3N lab and throughout RIT. I had touched many different labs and interfaced with a lot of different people, and everyone was just a joy to work with and was very supportive. Specifically from my lab, I'd like to thank Mengdi Bao, who was a PhD student during the time of my thesis and was my co-author on a paper that we published based on the thesis research. She was instrumental in working with me every day in the lab, helping me collect the data, conduct the experiments, and provide me with expertise moving forward. I'd also like to thank Xian He, who was a postdoc my first summer. She really taught me everything from, hey, this is how you use a pipette, to this is how we can make a controlled experiment and stuff like that. And honestly, if it wasn't for both of them, I don't know if I would have ever developed the skills and knowledge to have finished out my thesis the way I did. So I thank them both. I'd also like to thank my thesis advisor, Dr. K. Du. He really pushed me to get involved in research and saw potential in me, and he was really instrumental in helping create my research plan and decide our process going forward. I'm extremely grateful because he always pushed me to be the best I could be, whether it was the best student, the best lab mate, or the best scholar. And I think he honestly helped bring out a lot of the best in me. So for all this, I'm extremely grateful, and I continue to carry on a lot of things that I learned from him now into my daily life. I'd also just like to thank all of my thesis committee members, so Dr. Michael Schwarlum, Dr. Michael Scherzer, Dr. Julie Thomas. They all took time to listen, read through and critique my thesis, which was no small feat because it wound up getting pretty long towards the end. And I honestly believe, them giving me that feedback made it really polished and refined, and it was better because of it. And then finally, I'd just like to thank my wonderful girlfriend, Kaylee Pitts, for all of the assistance that she gave me since I began the dual degree program, between helping me out with my classwork, helping me make PowerPoint schematics when I couldn't quite get things to line up, to taking notes from me when I was in class, and the only time the fume hood was open was when we had a lecture, and just cheering me up when I was down. She kept me grounded, kept me motivated moving forward, and without her support, I don't know if I would have finished out the thesis. So with all of that, I just want to say thank you all again for hosting this event, and I'm so grateful to have received the award.
Congratulations again, Kenneth. The recipient of the 2021 Outstanding Alumni Master of Fine Arts Thesis Award is Jeffrey Levitt, who received his degree in Fine Art Studio from the College of Art and Design. His thesis title is Iteration 2491-J, and his thesis advisor is Elizabeth Kronfield. Jeff received his bachelor's degree from the University of Rochester in 2017, majoring in studio arts. Additionally, he was a member and co-president of the Campus Juggling Club. In 2019, he began his graduate career at RIT, studying fine arts studio and completing his master's degree in the spring of 2020. While at RIT, Jeff studied with Elizabeth Kronfield, Denton Crawford, and John Ask, who served on his thesis committee and helped him to evolve his artwork. His thesis focused on the futile nature of human existence, explored through small toy-like robots performing repetitive and whimsical tasks in never-ending cycles. Jeff's artwork drew inspiration from visual artists such as Japanese painter Takashi Murakami and American projectionist artist Tony Orsler, as well as The Myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. Jeff currently lives in Long Beach, California with his partner, while she completes her own graduate program in creative writing. Congratulations, Jeff, and I invite you to share some words with us.
Thank you so much. I am honored to be accepting this award today. I would like to start by thanking the members of my thesis committee, Elizabeth Kronfield, Denton Crawford, and John Osp. All three of you were instrumental in helping me to distill my artwork and evolve my way of thinking in terms of how I make art and what I make. When I began my journey at RIT in the fall of 2018, or fall 2019 rather, sorry. Or I might have said that wrong in the bio, whichever. I didn't know what the focus of my thesis work would be at the time. All I knew is that I had a vague interest in articulated figures and wanted to gain more experience in casting. After experimenting with mold making in plastic casting in Elizabeth's sculpture class, I eventually decided that I wanted my work to focus on these little 6-inch articulated robot toys that I had designed. At first, I really had no idea what they were about or why I was drawn to them. When I was younger, I resisted the idea that art had to be about something. I always felt that I just wanted to make things that I liked and that I didn't need some greater metaphorical meaning behind it. As I grew older and my artistic practice became more refined, I realized that this way of thinking was all wrong. It's not that I had to impose some external meaning upon the things that I wanted to make to disguise them as fine art, but rather that the things that I enjoyed already had value behind them. There was already a reason that I was drawn to these things to begin with, and I just had to introspectively reflect on what it was. When you create something, you always have a reason for doing so. There's always something that you found fascinating about the subject matter to begin with. So finding the meaning in your artwork doesn't have to be tacked on after the fact. You just have to dive deep into yourself and explore what made you interested in the first place. Then, once you've found that concept, you can draw, once you've found that concept, you can draw it out and make it even more prevalent in your future work. For some artists, the ideas come first, and then their challenge lies in finding the best way to express those ideas within the artwork itself. But for others, like myself, the visual aspect is what comes first, which of course doesn't mean that there is no conceptual aspect. It just means that it has to be discovered and found throughout the process. When I had this revelation, it was like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. Felt much more sincere to devote my thoughts to finding the meaning rather than making up something that I felt would fit well enough. Although the idea was freeing, as I entered my graduate career at RIT, I soon learned that the process of discovering the root of my interest was still very difficult and a daunting process in and of itself. It took me a lot of trial and error, but gradually, with the help of my professors like Elizabeth and Denton and John, I was able to filter my ideas down until I could understand the core of what was attracting me to these little toy robots. I liked the idea that these robots were innocent little creatures that had repetitive little lives. They would perform cyclical tasks and with hardly any greater meaning. I related this idea to the myth of Sisyphus by Albert Camus. As a punishment for the gods, Sisyphus is forced to perform the endless cycle of pushing a large boulder up a hill only to watch it roll back down again. Camus posited that though this can seem hopeless and bleak, and as a representation of our lives, if we just can imagine that Sisyphus is happy, we can likewise find happiness in our own routines that can sometimes as well feel meaningless. The robots were intended to be a further exploration of this idea. By its nature, futility is an inherently bleak concept, but there can also be a beauty found within it as well. There's a certain poetic quality to meaninglessness if you're willing to look for it. Though these ideas seem like they're at odds with one another, they're not mutually exclusive, and it can be both. It was my intention to illustrate both sides of the duality in my thesis work. Thank you again for selecting me for this thesis award. I'm so grateful for my experience at RIT and how it helped me to evolve as an artist and create better artwork in my artistic practice for the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jeff, and congratulations again. This year, we will honor 2 recipients for our next award. The dissertation submissions of these 2 nominees were tied for the highest rating. So I'm very pleased to present our first winner, Dr. Chang Liu, as a 2021 Outstanding Alumni Dissertation Awardee. Dr. Liu received his PhD in Microsystems Engineering from the Kate Gleason College of Engineering. His dissertation is titled Polarization Engineering for Deep Ultraviolet Light Emitting Diodes, and his thesis advisor is Dr. Jing Zhang. Dr. Liu received his Bachelor of Science degree in physics from Wuhan University in China. He worked briefly as an engineer assistant in Jiangsu, China, before joining the Microsystem Engineering PhD department at RIT in 2024. He also spent 4 months during his PhD working as a research intern at Facebook. During his time at RIT, Dr. Liu conducted thesis research on polarization engineering for deep ultraviolet light emitting diodes. After graduating last summer, he spent a short time in industry and is now a postdoc at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, developing his ideas further. Congratulations, Dr. Liu. I invite you to say a few words.
Okay, thank you so much for the kind introduction, and thank the RIT Graduate School, the selection committee, and all the people who make these virtual events possible. Thank you. So I'm deeply honored and grateful to have been chosen as the recipient for this PhD dissertation award. And to have my work recognized in this way really means a lot to me. So my dissertation is about developing high efficiency deep UV LEDs. Which is more important considering the pandemic, the ongoing pandemic, and the water shortage. So a little bit of background here. So the deep UV light can effectively kill the virus and the bacteria. But the traditional device suffers from low efficiency issue. So my work is systematically investigate this efficiency issue, starting from the fundamental physics and the design a new type of structure, and verify the whole idea both theoretically and experimentally. So with a lot of efforts in the material epitaxy, the chip nanofabrication, and developing a new test design. So besides this deep UV project, I also work on some other exciting projects as well, such as the micro LED for next generation display used in VR, AR headset, and also some near infrared semiconductor lasers for telecommunication. And now I'm working on some high power blue violet lasers for Blu-ray storage and display. So my desire is to continue working in this field, the cutting edge semiconductor optoelectronic devices, because as a researcher, as an engineer, I can really see my contributions in solving some of the world's biggest problems, helping to save lives and create new technology that can improve the way we live. That's exactly what I'm passionate about. So all those achievements is not something I did alone. So there are many others who deserve to share this award. First of all, I want to thank my PhD advisor, Dr. Jing Zhang, who always believes in me, being patient and supportive. And the project she asked me to work on, and also all the resources she provides to me, is just the key part for my success. I also want to thank Dr. Zhang for putting together a group of young talent, Yuki, Matt Hartensward, Brian, my side, and Judas. I really enjoyed the time being in the lab, just brainstorming and discussing the project with them. And also I must thank the KGCOE, the Department of Microsystem Engineering, Professor Bruce Smith and Lisa Zerzelman for the help and the support throughout my stay here. And I also want to thank all my committee members, Professor Brabel, Professor Haber, Professor Mosani, and Professor Bodo for their advice in my research and my dissertation. So there are countless others I want to thank, all the professors, all the faculty in microsystem engineering, and all the SMFL staff. I really appreciate. I also want to take some time to thank my family and my friends, which is a huge part to my success and my life. So special thanks to Agnes. I was so lucky to have you around, and it was you that I can share my feelings with, and it was you always challenging me when I was lost in my comfort zone, and it was you that kind of make me a better version of myself. Really appreciate it. I also want to thank my wonderful parents, my brother, for their consistent support and understanding, allowing me to just stay away from home, just chase my dream. So there are a lot of up and downs, challenges, and also growing pains during the 6th year at RIT. I was so lucky and very happy for myself to make it all through eventually. So there is a lot this award already brought to me. I just can't appreciate it enough. So once again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Liu. The final honoree in our ceremony is the second winner of the dissertation award, Dr. Jacob Lang. Dr. Lang received his PhD in astrophysical sciences and technology from the College of Science. Dr. Lang's dissertation title is Rifting the Waves, Developing and Applying an Algorithm to Infer Properties of Gravitational Wave Sources, and his thesis advisor is Dr. Richard O'Shaughnessy. Before joining RIT, Dr. Lang received a dual BS degree in astronomy, astrophysics, and physics from the Florida Institute of Technology. While at RIT, he was involved in many outreach and teaching opportunities, including volunteering at Victor High School and the Harley High School, as well as in Imagine RIT. Starting in the summer of 2017, he also taught a week-long Intro to Astronomy class for high school students in the University of Rochester's pre-college program. During his time in the AST PhD program, he worked with Dr. O'Shaughnessy on estimating the properties of gravitational wave sources and understanding systematic errors in the models used for this analysis. After graduation, he moved to Providence, Rhode Island to spend a semester at Brown University's Institute for Computational and Experimental Research in Mathematics. He is now in UT Austin as a postdoc, working with Dr. Deirdre Shoemaker, continuing his research estimating the properties of gravitational wave sources. He has begun a new project simulating gravitational wave sources numerically and estimating those sources from future gravitational wave detectors. Congratulations to you, Dr. Lang, and I invite you to say a few words.
Hi, thanks, Dr. Ellen Granberg, for that introduction. It's an honor to accept this award, and I'd first like to thank everyone at the RIT Graduate School and RIT in general for putting this together. The support and resources given to me during my time at RIT undoubtedly contributed to my success. I'd also like to thank all my professors, the students that I was at RIT with, and the staff in the Astrophysical Sciences and Technologies program. In particular, I'd like to thank my fellow graduate students who helped me to keep sane through the high stress times during the program. Also, I'd like to thank Dr. Andy Robinson, the director of the AST program, for always doing what was best for all the graduate students. I'd also like to thank the AST staff, namely Cheryl Merrill and Carrie Hindman, whose bureaucratic knowledge was invaluable during my time. I'd also like to thank my advisor, Dr. Richard O'Shaughnessy. Thank you for always putting my best interests first and teaching me how to stand out in a talented crowd that is the LIGO scientific collaboration. And lastly, I'd just like to thank my parents. Without their constant support throughout my life, I would not be where I am today.
Thank you, Dr. Lang. Congratulations again. Please join me in congratulating this year's award recipients by adding your messages of congratulations in the chat. I'll now turn the program back over to Dr. Cummings for some final comments.
Thank you, Dr. Granberg. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to all of our award recipients, not only for this award, but for the wonderful contribution you made to RIT as a student, and for the wonderful contributions and impact that you are making as you have gone beyond RIT. You make RIT very, very proud. I'd like to offer a special thanks to Dr. Granberg for participating in today's celebration and for all of her support of the graduate school. And again, I want to thank you. I want to thank the members of the selection committee for your dedication in helping honor the exceptional work of our graduate alumni. There are several people who work very hard to ensure that events like this are a success. Therefore, I would like to thank Carrie DeGlans, Bella Dunwoody, Katie Bizak, and Neha Joshi from the RIT Graduate School for their role in putting this event together. Thank you all for joining us in the celebration. This concludes our program for today, and I invite you to please take some time to visit the Brick City website for other events to attend. Please take care and enjoy the rest of the Brick City Homecoming weekend.